And you are muted, Chair Willits.
Perfect stuff. Good afternoon and welcome to the January 30th Oregon Tourism Commission meeting. To everyone who has joined us on Zoom and to those watching the recording on Travel Oregon's Industry YouTube channel, thank you for taking the time to be with us. Today's agenda can be found on the Travel Oregon Industry website if you'd like to follow along. We ask that all attendees other than commissioners remain muted and with their cameras off. Commissioners, I'd like to acknowledge that in holding a meeting today, we met all public meeting notice requirements required by state law. On Wednesday, January 21st, the commission meeting notice was posted to the commission meetings page. Notice was sent through our industry communications and a link to the meeting agenda was posted. To begin this meeting, I'd like the commissioners to briefly introduce themselves, starting with Commissioner Gremmels.
Thank you, Chair Willits, for that introduction. Good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to this meeting. I truly appreciated all the contributions from our recruiting firm, Heidrick & Struggles, the commissioners, and those who provided public comment. That was wonderful. I'm a commissioner at large, and I am in Medford, Oregon today. It's a beautiful day, and we are still in January, so I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gremmels. Commissioner Hill.
Good afternoon. My name is Travis Hill. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Umpqua Indian Development Corporation, which is the business entity for the Cow Creek Band of Umpqua Tribe of Indians, also flagship property, Seven Feathers Casino Resort. Happy to be here today and speaking to you from Roseburg, Oregon. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. Commissioner Will Miller, sorry.
Good afternoon. I'm Heather Miller. I'm the General Manager of Accommodations at the Ground in Yamhill County, and I am coming to you from Carlton, Oregon today.
Thank you. Commissioner Pearson.
Can you guys hear me? My video stopped working for some reason. Great.
Yes.
Commissioner Pearson, GM of the Jupiter Hotel and Jupiter Next in Portland, Oregon, coming to you from Portland.
Commissioner Rowe.
I'm Jennifer Rowe. I own and operate Crater Lake Zipline and Kayak Adventures, and I am coming from Klamath Falls today.
Thank you so much. Vice Chair Patel.
Good afternoon. I'm Harish Patel. I own and operate lodging facilities in Pendleton and Coos Bay, and I am today in Portland.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us. And I'm Greg Willits. Along with my family, I built, run, and manage Five Pine Lodge in sunny today, Sisters, Oregon, and excited to move on to this next step. Our esteemed Commissioner Lucinda DeNovo is unable to join us today, and we wish her well wherever she's at. Today, we also have the Department of Justice Representative Sylvia Cramond in attendance to provide counsel if needed. Good morning or good afternoon, Sylvia.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. As always, it's my pleasure to be here. Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you for your great words yesterday. And hello to executive search firm Heidrick & Struggles, Representative Jackie Zavitz, Molly Moore, and Alyssa Fernandez. Thank you guys for being here. If you don't mind, just take a brief moment to introduce yourselves, if that's all right.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. Jackie Zavitz. I'm a partner at Heidrick & Struggles. We're a global international search firm, and I'm a partner in our social impact practice. And amongst the work that we do include organizations that receive public funding, have public accountability across the U.S. and around the world. Nice to meet. Alyssa?
Hello, all. My name is Alyssa Fernandez. I work alongside Jackie and Molly in our social impact practice here at Heidrick and Struggles. I'm based in Washington, D.C., but born and raised in Sherwood, Oregon. I have deep Oregonian roots, so happy to be here with you all.
Molly Moore, Senior Associate in Social Impact, work with Jackie and Alyssa as well. And I am also from Oregon, from Portland area, and very excited to be working on this project. Thanks so much.
Thank you. You guys are a great team. Thank everyone. I want to thank everyone for their time and thoughtful discussion and questions yesterday. It was a good meeting for us. Before we move on to today's main purpose, I want to acknowledge that any leadership transition can create a feeling of uncertainty for staff, partners, other stakeholders directly impacted by the work of an organization, and in this situation, Travel Oregon. I want to assure everyone watching, recognizing it includes industry partners and staff, that our work on the commission remains guided by the values of the agency: integrity, equity, community, and stewardship. And that all decisions we make are focused on the future stability and what is in the best interest of the agency. I believe I speak for all on the commission when I say we appreciate the feedback and engagement throughout this process, as reflected in the hiring standards and policy directives outlined by Heidrick and Struggles yesterday. I'm also confident that your feedback, along with that of the others interviewed, and public comments received, will be reflected in the job description we will review and discuss today. So thank you to those who have participated, offered your insights and perspective, and continue to dedicate your professional and personal time to recruiting the best candidate to lead this important agency during this crucial time in Oregon's economy. We will continue to make this process transparent and keep all interested parties and staff informed of each step advanced in recruiting the next executive leader, and seek to consider appropriate feedback opportunities. We will also lean on our experts, Heidrick and Struggles, to guide us in that recruitment. I'm confident that we will identify highly qualified candidates who recognize the opportunity this position offers in serving the state of Oregon, the industry, and the communities that are the backbone of our state's tourism economy, which drives our volunteer work on this commission. Lots of work there too. We can now turn back to public comment, which was open through 4 p.m. yesterday and is posted on the Travel Oregon Industry Commission meeting page. We received the following public comment yesterday. Wendy Giardano from the City of Brookings shared the following paraphrased comment for the commission to consider. By prioritizing leadership that is intentionally inclusive of rural coastal Oregon, a more balanced approach would support distributing visitor demand more substantially and strengthen tourism resilience. Thank you very much for your comments, Wendy, and no further comments were received. Commissioners, one of our actions today is to adopt the hiring standards, policy directives, and hiring plan for the next executive director of Travel Oregon, so the position can be posted publicly and begin the recruitment phase. We are joined by staff from Heidrick and Struggles for any clarifying questions and to help finalize the documents. Specifically, we are looking at the minimum qualifications, executive director title, and application window ending March 30th. Are there any comments or questions on the materials or public comments we received?
I just wanted to add, I'm very appreciative of the comments and inputs from yesterday, and Heidrick and Struggles, including those inputs for us to review today. So I really am excited to review the document and move forward. And again, I can't thank everyone who's participated in this process enough for their intentional participation, particularly Chair Willits, for the time and effort that you've put into this as a volunteer. I'm just so grateful for your time and commitment. I also wanted to touch on the public statement and really thank Wendy for her words of intentionally inclusive and know that this and please be confident, Wendy, that all the commissioners here are intentional in providing inclusive representation of all 7 regions represented by this commission and Travel Oregon. So thank you for those words.
Thank you, Commissioner Gremmels. Anybody else?
Is this a time to make a comment about the document we were sent, like application information?
100%. We will have a moment following this moment of action to discuss particular portions of the compensation package, the monetary portion of that.
Okay, I'll hold off till then.
But we are now talking about the minimum qualifications that you saw on that sheet from Heidrick and Struggles, executive director title, which was referenced yesterday, CEO versus executive director, and the application window ending March 30th. This is the time to deliberate those components and others that you saw not reflecting what we were working towards here as a commission.
Sure. Well, if it's helpful, I can also screen share anything if it's helpful to have that visual to walk across.
That would be helpful. Thank you. If you could just walk us through that so we can hit on those specific pieces, but also, yeah, there we go.
Absolutely. Beginning with the policy directives, we have highlighted here that feedback from the public comment. I think we wanted to maybe more explicitly call out all of the different diversity of Oregon that this leader would be responsible for. And so we'd like to put before the commission this particular edit highlighted in green to what was already existing.
And it appears small on some people's screen. Could you please read that for us?
Absolutely. I'll read it within the context of the full sentence here. So this is under external relations and partnerships. Represent Travel Oregon with the legislator, industry, tribal nations, DMOs, local governments, community organizations, and professional associations. Expand partnerships that advance the strategic plan and destination stewardship statewide with an equitable balance between regions, cities, and rural communities.
Thank you for that.
Any feedback, comments, or edits to that response to our public comment?
No.
Wonderful. Any other feedback to this particular page? And I can zoom out a little bit.
I think we're good.
Great. The next piece was around hiring standards. Yesterday, we had discussed wanting to call out a bit more around the communication and external ambassadorialship of this leader. And so we proposed the following highlighted addition: an inspiring communicator and ambassador of an organization's vision and impact. So this is, again, the sort of experiences we're looking for in candidates as we assess them for this position.
Thank you for that edit.
Are there any others we'd like to propose as it relates to this particular set?
Looks great.
Wonderful.
Yes, thank you for including that.
Then moving forward to minimum qualifications, We discussed yesterday if we had been perhaps more restrictive than we wished as we thought about the bachelor degrees for this role. One proposal we have here highlighted is just broadening to the maximum a bachelor's degree in relevant related fields versus some of the listings that we had had prior. Does the commission have any opinions about which way we would want to lean when it comes to this particular qualification?
I guess I just would question in your scoring rubric or how that's going to work. Would it be a bump of a point or something if they did have a specific degree?
I think in our understanding here, what we'd be looking for is more that last bullet point. If someone had a degree in a specific area that related to the broader industry, that would be where we'd be thinking about industry experience. So this first qualification is more about sort of that education foundational experience. So by expanding it as broadly, we would allow a lot of relative experiences that a candidate might be able to draw to what Travel Oregon does, such as economic community development, communications, marketing, tourism management, without necessarily needing to list those out.
Right. But a bachelor's degree period is a requirement.
We do have the secondary comment. So we do allow for the or here to meet position requirements.
Okay.
I think it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I agree.
Covers the same thing more succinctly.
Yep.
Thank you for that change.
Wonderful. I think those were the pieces that we had explicitly talked about. And I think that then takes us, Chair Willets, to the sort of title and compensation pieces.
And can we see the duration? Where is the job posting? The application period.
Yeah, on the hiring plan,
Yeah.
would it be this one?
Yes, I think the recommendation was 60 days open application period. And we heard from Lucinda yesterday that sounded great to her. And I want to echo those in her stead because she's not able to join us today. But I am personally inclined to speed that up a bit. I recognize it's a recommendation. I think there should be some very intelligent people excited for this position with resume in hand, ready to go. And frankly, if they can't achieve that in, I would say, 6 weeks, I'd have a hard time believing that they would be a good fit for this job because things happen pretty quickly at Travel Oregon. My personal proposal would be closer to that 6-week total, getting us to somewhere mid-March instead of the end of March, but that is a single opinion here today. I'd love to hear other people's feedback.
Yeah, Chair Willets, I tend to agree with you. I would like a bit abbreviated timeline if possible. A question for the team here is just if in the event that we didn't get candidates in 6 weeks that we were excited to move forward with, what happens at that juncture?
I mean, I would say this is the reason we have the longer,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because what happens if we close the window and the candidate's not in the pool? And I mean, we might find ourselves painted in a corner. The Hydric team and the commission is still encouraged to work quickly and identify candidates. So that's sort of our instinct on that. It's a risk management tool, but you get to decide.
So in that 6-week period, then we're actively beginning interviews and preliminary interviews. So we're not waiting till March 30th to then set to move forward with any of that process. Is that right?
We would, so we haven't set the interview dates yet, but I would encourage us to start interviewing before that.
I
Yeah.
assume pre-screening will happen with this, obviously taking the qualified candidates and putting those in one bucket, and then anybody who applied, maybe it's just, maybe they meet those minimum qualifications would be just, pre-screened out of the process.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we're doing this we don't like wait for a bucket to fill and then only look in the bucket like at the end of 8 weeks. Yeah.
So it is possible if a great candidate applied right away, they could, in theory, be through the interview
Yes,
process
exactly. Yeah.
before the 30th of
Those
April.
who express interest should do so early and often.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not beholden to moving on to step 2 until the 30th. People can
No.
just apply until then.
No. But the reason we say this is, what if somebody learns about this later? We would probably,
Sure.
if they were a strong candidate, we would figure out a way to feather them into our process. So this is
Sure.
why we do this, but you get to decide.
So if somebody applies on the 30th and we already found a suitable candidate, is there any chance of someone saying that, because of my whatever qualifying condition, I was not considered properly?
I mean, we get to, sorry, Sylvia, go ahead. Maybe you have a point on this. I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, there is, I would definitely encourage you to consider all candidates who apply before the application deadline. And if that is the deadline that you put in, I would not encourage you to close it sooner, because people rely on the deadline being the deadline. There's also certain veterans preference obligations that enable people to apply up to the deadline and get included in the process in the appropriate way for veterans preference and some potential automatic interviews. So, I wouldn't, if the top candidate, if the best person possible applies tomorrow, good for them. But if you're still going to have to wait on decision making and stuff until after you've had the opportunity to look at all of the candidates who apply within the deadline.
So in that case, I mean, look, yeah, we get to decide. We can shorten it up. The cost is we may miss some good candidates who don't learn about the job in time, in order to prevent us from being held up by all the other people that express interest. That's fine. That's just the reality of, and so we all get to decide on that. Just let's be aware of the trade-offs to that.
I think I would go along with Chair Willetts. I know I understand the reason for the longer deadline, but we also would like this person getting up to speed quicker too. The year goes very fast, so I would also like mid-March.
I would like to express my thoughts here and suggest we align with the experts' input and providing a longer runway for us to attract the best candidates to this role. And we know there's going to be some planned outreach and marketing for this role out in the field, but there's also that organic outreach through word of mouth, through trade shows, and through association meetings and such. So giving us a full opportunity to capture the best candidates, as Heidrick and Struggles suggest, I think gives us the best return on this process. And we're putting considerable volunteer hours into this process and resources, and we want the best person for this role. And if it's another 2 weeks for that best person, I recommend 60 days.
Yeah, I mean, there is no perfect solution here. I understand what both sides of this issue are solving for. What we're trying to avoid, because again, as your search consultant, is avoiding a failed search, right? And not having enough time in the market is a risk to a failed search. That's why we say this, but understand all the things you're solving for.
Absolutely. And we can often find too that candidates will want to spend a bit of time getting to understand the opportunity, understanding what the application process might look like. And that's also conversations Heidrick has before someone might officially say, I want to be considered for this role, and we can begin assessing them. So that typically is also why we build in that extra time here in the application portion. It's not only assessing those candidates, but making sure we're getting people fully in the boat and interested.
If you could, and I know you've done it a bit already, but just to help me feel more comfortable with the information, can you help me understand the process once that closes? What's the timeline there so that we know, does that mean we're looking at onboarding someone by the end of April, or does it take 2 months? I'm just kind of curious if there's a known factor there.
Yeah, so just, I mean, to be clear, we don't have every step calendared here because we can't, right? We don't know
I
what the
understand.
pool is. Yeah, we don't know who the candidates are. But yeah, you're not going to hire somebody until we go through the interview process and we've met them multiple different ways. So yeah, I mean, this is, again, I understand the concern about not stretching any one stage of the process too long because it all compounds. I understand that as well. I mean, if we're leading a search where, we're interviewing candidates, Heidrick is assessing and interviewing candidates in February and March. Yeah, we're not going to hire somebody in March, right? That's unlikely. It probably means, I don't know. I mean, sometime in the spring after that. And it's hard to know like how long it would take. And then for that person to start the job, what if they're moving from somewhere else versus they're sitting here? Like there's just a lot of factors. So generally speaking, I will tell you searches like this, where we have a wide market, we have a committee that is making decisions, we have accountability and rules and regulations we have to follow. They're not fast searches, right? Like we can't have all the things. And so, yeah, like these searches tend to take, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. I mean, that's just, yeah, again, think about all the things we're requiring of this process.
Thank you. Sylvia Kramer?
Thanks. Yeah, I just to clarify, we're using the term interview, and I know we have a process by which the search firm will be doing a lot of the initial interviews rather than the commission. I would just for clarity, I would say, like you can start interviewing anytime, but because of the application of veterans preference law, like everybody who applies before the deadline is going to have to be like screened and part of the process in some similar way. So I don't, and that's that. I'm sure the search firm can handle that. I'm just raising it as like something for everybody to be aware of. So I would just to get to that timing question. I completely agree. This takes a long time. Scheduling commission meetings takes a long time, and I would say that there's whatever deadline you set for the application, for sure, the commissioner's interviews, like of the commission, will have to occur after that deadline. And then from there, like that can take some scheduling to do. And then you don't necessarily know how that process will look after that, if there needs to be tiebreakers or other things. So that, I would get ready for a significant amount of time.
Understood. Thank you. Commissioner Pearson.
I mean, from what I heard, it does not necessarily sound like extending the application window by 2 weeks automatically means the total process will take 2 weeks longer. So to me, it sounds like we eliminate some risk by extending the window while not necessarily extending the total search time by 2 weeks. It could, but it might not. And that's the risk balance, I guess. And I think I would be in favor of the full 60 days at their recommendation.
Yes, thank you. Commissioner Hill.
Just a couple comments. Sometimes you can do like a first consideration phase on these. We've had experiences where we've kind of had a long application process, and some of the first candidates have applied. They've already moved on to another consideration that might be a better option, or whatever the case would be, in a 90-day situation. But I do agree that, as far as, kind of pre-screening those, and once you have the first as far as that timeline, being able to kind of sort through those. But just a consideration, if you do go beyond that 60 days, you could potentially lose some candidates that applied towards the beginning that might be available. So
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Miller.
Yeah, just my support for the full 60 days. I know that the team is also planning to do some outreach and recruitment efforts, and I know that also takes time. And there could be people that don't have their eyes on Oregon that could be a great fit that may not be quite prepared. So to me, hedging our bets in 2 weeks is not that much longer, and I don't think it's going to have that much total impact on our total timeline beyond through the interview process and all the other things. So I'm in support of their recommendation.
Thank you much. I appreciate everybody's comments. Any other comments here?
One other point, Greg, I'll just make
Yeah.
just to address a concern that was raised that is a good one, which is, the longer this holding period is, which is what it feels like for the candidates, right, as we're building the pool, the Heidrick team, because we are assessing them, we can manage their expectations on timeline. So that's, again, part of the benefit of having a search firm is our job is to make sure they understand that and stay engaged. So I don't profess to eliminate that risk 100%, but we can mitigate it quite a bit, I think.
Perfect. Thank you. I think if you're okay with it, Harish, consensus seems to be towards the full 2-month period, which I would say is 8 weeks. Is that appropriate? Or I think you have a date listed potentially, or a date in mind, Jackie, is that true?
I mean, it's January 30th now, right? So I'm thinking if we want to have the full time to build a robust pool and allow, as Halissa said, all of the people who need the time to discern and to build their own interest and talk to their families. And if we can not be on, if we can have the full 8 weeks, it just helps us manage the risk better. And we would encourage March 30th.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And thank you for your time there. Do we have any further comment on the title of the role, the specifically CEO versus executive director? Anybody else?
I think we should just leave it as executive director for now.
As it is in statute. Anybody else?
I agree.
I agree.
I
I
agree.
agree.
Okay, great.
Chair Willetts, I did have a couple other questions, comments. Just under the position, I don't know if it's appropriate, but is it possible to link ORS 284 so that they can understand what that is and go directly to it?
You're within the application. Yeah, I think that's a great question for the team of Heidrick and Struggles.
Yes, we can link that in the position description. So when that pops up throughout, it can link directly to it. If that reflects your concern.
Exactly. I just want it easy for them to fully understand what that is. And this is super nitpicky down in the weeds, but as I was reading through some of the information up above, it references the annual governor's conference just in kind of our informational who we are as an organization. We want that to not say annual. I know that's really minor. Under events and meetings, I think is what it was. I'm not finding it right this second. Under our work and then events and conferences.
So what you're suggesting is have governors conference, but take the word annual out in case it's biannual or not there.
Exactly. And I know, very minor, but still, I want to be accurate.
I understand, and I think it's a good point. So are we waiting for?
Hey, Jackie, just for clarification, the 8 weeks, that'll begin once you guys start posting the position, correct? So March 30th is kind of arbitrary. It will begin at the time that you start recruiting and that position is actually available for applications.
Well, that's the other reason that we're sort of encouraging the later date. I mean, I'm hoping we can get into the market ASAP, but this not being our first rodeo, sometimes there are things that hold us up from doing that. And because I can't change the back end, right? That's
Yeah.
why I'm sort of solving for a bigger window.
Okay. Great.
Commissioner Willetts, I don't want to jump ahead, but do you want me to walk through the position specification next, or do you want to tackle any other specifics?
I think that we're good with, I think we have settled the specifics that were top of mind.
Okay.
Chair Willets, I believe we need to take a vote on the documents presented first.
For sure. I thought she was going to present further documents. Or is she, are you done, Alyssa, with your presentation?
We're done with
Okay,
I think the
sorry.
3 pieces that we wanted to vote on, Matt, if I'm correct, and guide us correctly here on the policy and process.
Yeah, sorry. I thought you were going to go to another sheet. I apologize. All right.
In full transparency, I think that other sheet you just want to recap on is wages. Is that part of this?
This will be another conversation after this vote. It's
Thank
an
you.
independent conversation that we'll be voting on next.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so I guess do commissioners have any other questions or comments on the materials that we received related to everything except for compensation? All right. Well, thank you very much for the deliberation, and I appreciate working with the commission and coming to a consensus on where we are aligned. And now I will be asking for a motion to approve and adopt the hiring standards, policy directives, and hiring plan as amended and suggested language noted today, specifically March 30th timeframe or 8 weeks. The language related to title being executive director and the minimum qualifications for the job discussed today as well. Can I have a motion for?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Given the virtual nature of this meeting, we will need a roll call vote. Please say aye or nay in approving and adopting the hiring standards, policy directives, and hiring plan as amended. Commissioner Gremmels,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Commissioner Pearson,
Aye.
Commissioner Rowe,
Aye.
Vice Chair Patel,
Aye.
and Chair Willets is an aye as well. The motion to approve and adopt the hiring standards, policy directives, and hiring plan is approved. Thank you. And these documents culminate in the executive director job description, which we would like Heidrich to pull up now, please.
So this document will be what is posted as our job description, both on all of the required sites via Travel Oregon. It'll also be what is shared with interested candidates in our process. So it is meant to market the opportunity while capturing all of the pieces that the commission just voted on in terms of what we're looking for in this leader and what we'll be assessing them against. So this is our title page here. The first few slides are language from Travel Oregon about the organization. So not necessarily penned by Heidrick and Struggles, but utilizing what the organization has put forward and being able to point them out to resources like the team, financial reports, and statutes and rules that are on the Travel Oregon website and other relevant government websites. Any feedback on this particular page?
It looks great.
Yep.
This next section breaks down the 7 tourism regions and again points candidates and prospective candidates to the DMO and our DMO pages on the website.
I don't know if this was confusing to anyone else, but as I read that first paragraph, I thought maybe calling out, I know it's sort of assumed, but just saying Travel Oregon identifies one destination management organization to act as its regional destination management organization in each region, or somehow it just was a little confusing to me.
I agree. I had the same. I had to read
Yay.
it. I was like,
5 edits. Any other comments? Great.
Next page offers again some of the impact language and also points to the strategic vision and some of the planning and strategy documents on the website. Any comments or edits on this page?
All right.
This next section, it's just a bit more tangible about some of the particular outputs from Travel Oregon. Again, as described on the website there, we did have the one comment already integrated here to take out the annual piece before the Oregon Governors Conference. Any other feedback on this particular page?
Looks good.
Agree.
Wonderful. So then again, just points to some of the lovely resources that Travel Oregon's putting out so that candidates can get familiar with the brand and its impact. So social media, its guides, the newsletters, and the welcome centers in particular. Any comments or additions here?
Look good.
I like it.
Wonderful. And then the next page starts getting into the role. So it has the breakdown here of title and location, and then a brief overall summary. We are going to go ahead and get that hyperlink added here, just so it'll direct directly to the statute there. So we'll get that best link from the Travel Oregon team. But any other comments or feedback on this page?
Think you're good?
Does it need to specify, it says under the commission approval strategic plan, but does it identify what commission that is? Or do we need to identify that somewhere prior to that? No, actually reports, never mind. It says right above it, Oregon Tourism Commission, sorry.
Any other thoughts? All right.
And then we get back into the pieces that we've just ratified. So you'll see we have the same language reflected here in those edits. So this has been approved and voted on by the commission. Our qualifications slides verbatim are here as well. Then it points to the search engagement team, contact information here at Heidrick, and then application information. So this is where we have the application deadline posted, where to apply, which is our Travel Oregon inbox. That's also what we'll be constantly monitoring here for ideas, suggestions, additional feedbacks. That will be sort of continuous information loop here with the broader stakeholders. It's where we have the hiring range as well as the equal opportunity and veterans preference language, and that is hyperlinked to the state of Oregon's full page on veterans preference.
I just wondered, is it typical to include any other ancillary benefits like insurance or
For the
retirement?
401k, yeah, retirement, yeah.
Yeah, I think from the Heidrick perspective, we follow your lead on that. It can be sometimes typical to include some of those broader benefits. In other cases, it's things that we might provide to candidates further along in the process via a benefits booklet. Other times, if there's things online to direct them to, we might hyperlink in.
Sylvia, do you have
I
some thoughts on this?
It's really up to you whether it's going to help in the recruitment process or not. You know, there's kind of a defined set of state benefits that are offered. So there's you don't have a lot of flexibility there to choose your own adventure on, you know, retirement or health insurance. So I'd really kind of defer to you all and the expertise in the room to figure out if that's going to be something that's going to be, you know, super appealing to candidates, or if it's something where they're just like, well, I would hope that I would get benefits with this, or I don't really know where the folks would land on this. But you
I
don't
guess
legally, you don't have to legally, you don't have to say anything about it, but you can.
I like the idea of it.
To Jen's point, yeah, I do like the idea, and I think it gives us an opportunity to further our other benefits attached to the salary, and it gives us an opportunity to promote those benefits associated with the state role.
right. And full
I agree.
transparency, if it's not a package that someone is happy with, then I'd rather they know and move on. But I don't know that spelling everything out here would be helpful, but at least maybe a link to a fuller package description, benefits package description, maybe. I don't know if that would be appropriate.
I think we can just mention state benefit. And again, people at this level are savvy enough to know what the state benefits are.
Sylvia, is there a space online somewhere that spells out what state benefits are?
I think that's a complicated question because there's the PERS and then there's the PEB. And the PERS is the retirement. The PEB is all the various and sundry options for health insurance. And there's at least 3 different options that people can choose for the group health insurance plans, and plus a suite of other things that people can choose. And I just know this from being a state worker myself, you know, I don't know that there's like a one size fits all place where you can look at the benefits. To the extent you want to say something about it, I would probably maybe identify that this position is subject to PEB and PERS, and then as Harish pointed out, like people can then go look at those websites and just see what that does for them. Because I think it'd be really hard to. I don't know of like one place that lists them all, but what I usually see in state job announcements is something like, you know, we have a generous benefits plan, with health insurance and retirement options.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's common language on state postings.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I love the idea, but I don't actually know off the top of my head.
Okay.
I think just the kind of a generic, like what's being typed out is appropriate.
Mhm.
I think people can research, and I think there's kind of a general understanding that there's different benefit packages at the state level, and
Right, I agree. But I think at least stating that there
stating it, yeah,
is good. Um,
I
and then
would
if somebody wants further details,
find it.
they can find it.
Yeah, it would be worrisome if someone didn't see it and thought it was not included, and that deterred them. So,
And may I add too, because we're a semi-independent agency, we do provide bonus opportunities too. Is that something to add?
I think that might be more of the Hydric negotiation piece that might come back to us down the road.
Okay.
Potentially. Yeah, I think there's also life insurance. I'm wondering if somehow we allow Hydric to connect with Eddie or somebody else at Travel Oregon within HR that can direct that language, because I'm sure, or I would hypothesize that we have consistent language across job application or job postings. And I don't know how to accomplish that right now. Sarah or Matt, are you on the call still?
Yes.
Do we have a common language around that for Travel Oregon job postings?
For benefits,
Yeah.
we can definitely have our people and culture team work with Hydric to see if there is some common language added there. And I want to also bring up, I'm not sure if this is my place or whatever, but I don't know to the bonus question. I don't know that Travel Oregon offers bonuses. They offer maybe salary package enhancements, as was allowed for like mileage or something like that. But in my history, I don't believe there's actually ever been a bonus. So I just to be clear with that, if that's a statement that's being made, I wouldn't want an applicant to be disappointed.
Thank you, Sarah, for that clarification. Yeah.
Okay.
Then this looks good as I read it. Thank you again to the Hydric and Struggles team.
Great.
Well, one point, and I know we're probably going to talk about the starting range. I would be in favor of removing the $265,000 and just say the salary for this role is in line with other economic development positions within the state, only because it definitely sounds like in a few short years with 3% raises, this person could potentially be at the cap of their earnings, which might disincentivize people from applying.
Agreed. And I think Sylvia's got her hand up.
Well, it wasn't to that comment, but at some point you will have to vote on the compensation. You can vote now on a range and then vote later on what it's going to actually be. You could vote now to say, it's in line with the compensation that is offered to comparable positions, and then vote later on what that's going to be. So that is up to you, but you will definitely have to vote on the particular compensation at some point in the process. So that's to answer to that. The thing that I just wanted to point out is kind of off topic from that though. So like I don't want to derail the conversation if there's more to be said on that.
Well, I agree with Nick.
Yeah, we're going to discuss discuss and vote on the compensation in a later moment.
Okay.
Okay.
So the other thing that I wanted to just to mention to inform applicants is about the public records aspects of this. Because the Tourism Commission is a public entity, there are public records laws that apply, and the public records laws do not include a blanket exemption for people's application materials. It may be worth identifying that for candidates so that people are not surprised in the event that there is a public records request. There may be other exemptions that apply. I'm not opining on that at this time, but there's, the Oregon has a very transparent public records law, and I wouldn't want someone to apply and then be surprised if there's not an exemption that ultimately applies. And so I might say something like, applications may be subject to public record to disclosure under public records law and or public meetings law, because at a later phase there could be at public meetings where names of candidates who may ultimately be unsuccessful may have to be voted on in a public setting. So you just like something about, the applicant's privacy and applications cannot be guaranteed due to public records and public meetings laws, something like that, just to avoid surprising your candidates. And I recognize there's a balancing act there between appealing to people who are interested and scaring them off, but it's just something to consider for you all.
So
It's fair to know upfront.
instead of saying not guaranteed, we can say subject to public transparency. That's obvious then.
Would we like to live edit that into the application information, or Heidrich, do you have a place that you would put those disclosures later in the document?
Yeah, I mean, we can add it. I mean, to your point, it is not attractive to candidates. And I don't want to get into like a technical discussion around like when somebody becomes an applicant, but we're happy to flag that is a risk in some point in this process.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
I added the links to the standard state benefits to the chat, so that might be easier just to add the hyperlink to the benefits and portion of that, so they can just click on that and see what the standard benefits are. And it goes over, PERS rates, the sick time, optional benefits. So.
And Travis, we do have some standard language that's in our offers when we send them out, so that we can give that language to Heidrich to add in here regarding our benefit system.
Fantastic.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Any other comments related to this? Is this the final page, Heidrich team?
There's one last page here around job efforts and conditions, and this is just standard organizational and state language here. And then that's our last page.
Quick question back to the public information. I think, did you guys have that listed further up? I thought I saw in the comments the statute listed. Or maybe it was like a sidebar.
I know we have the statute listed, but there's nothing, I think, explicit to that latter point.
Okay.
Hey, Sylvia. Is it necessary to, when applicants are applying to these positions, that upon a public records request, their information would be public?
That's a difficult question to answer because in like with a straight yes or no, because there are a variety of exemptions. I want to be clear though, there's not any exemption that is a blanket that gives blanket coverage for job applicants. And so like there's like there's different things that may apply in particular situations. But in general, there's nothing general that applies to job applicants, which is why it's I think a better practice to inform people that their information may be subject to disclosure under the public records laws. Um, and um, and and then let people make their choices accordingly so that they're not taken by surprise if if there's if something else comes up later. That said, there may be some ways that you could build into the process a request for by applicants to not to maintain the confidentiality of their application. The problem being that under the public records law, there's balancing tests. So at the end of the day, there's very little about that law that is a yes, no. Even things where an exemption exists are generally subject to a balancing test about the public interest. And those are resolved in a case by case way, both at the agency level, but then also in the event that a requester does not agree with an agency's determination on those balancing factors, it then gets resolved at the Attorney General's office. So I wish I could give a more like blanket, like, yes, you can do this, or no, you can't do that. But the reality is it is complicated. And so I think, and you don't have to warn candidates if you don't want to. But I think it's worth being aware of that as a factor, and being transparent with people so that you're not burning people who would prefer to remain anonymous.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Hydric team, for presenting this information and live editing. Appreciate all the effort here today. Any other questions or comments? All right. All right, we're gonna
Well,
step in.
Chair
Go
Willett,
ahead.
sorry to continue on with this, but we've had a discussion, I think, previously about this and being transparent about the fact that if you apply, it will be known. And I want to make sure that we have decided where we're going to put that. We don't need to decide on the language exactly, but at what point in the process do we inform potential applicants that they're subject to this law? I don't want to deter people either, but is it?
We heard from the Hydric team. I think they're going to bake it into the sheet, hopefully asterisk or on that page. Actually, I should let you speak to that, Alyssa.
Yes, I think we'd have it on that application information page on the job description. I think we wouldn't want to bury that. To Sylvia's point, I think we'd want it to be clear to candidates, and we will continue to work with Travel Oregon around the exact language that we're using there and how Hydric can also present it to those who are interested and want to understand what that means. Because I imagine we'll have considerable questions in the market about that.
Right. Thanks for clarifying. I wanted to make sure we weren't all thinking different things.
That's fair. Thank you for the extra comments there. That being said, all right.
Just let's see. Just minor, page 1 and page 3, I think we have a $10 billion impact, and we have a $14 billion impact. I think we should decide what our impact is. Just minor, it's a little bit in the woods, but if you look on page 1.
Thanks, David. Actually, somebody else called that out and we will get that fixed. I believe the correct information is on page 4. It needs to be replaced on page 2.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying those pages and also appreciate you all seeing that.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Anyone else? All right. I'm going to move on to the next consideration here, and that is the within the job description, the total compensation. And in addition to our work with Heidrick and Struggles, the Oregon Tourism Commission initiated a salary compensation analysis with a third-party consultant experienced in the field to support the executive recruitment process for the next leader of Travel Oregon. This analysis is now complete, and the results reflect the unique role of this position, serving as a top executive of a semi-independent state agency and as a conduit to support growth in the tourism industry, one of Oregon's strongest economic pillars. This analysis reinforces that the current CEO's compensation has been in line with the market, particularly given his length of service of more than 20 years in the role. The analysis also supports starting the next executive salary below the current CEO's current salary, which will be reflected in his job posting, sorry. At its core, Travel Oregon is a state economic development agency created in response to a recession and to support a statewide approach to destination travel to and around our beautiful state. In its creation, the governor and legislature recognized that tourism is primarily a private sector industry. As such, the establishment of Travel Oregon was strategic and deliberate in balancing public sector accountability with private sector opportunity for growth, all centered on benefiting Oregon's vast communities. At this moment of transition, with the first executive retiring, we have a renewed opportunity and obligation to uphold this important balance and support this foundational part of Oregon's economy. I am also confident that in addition to an excellent and competitive comprehensive compensation package, the same attributes that turn many first-time visitors into lifelong residents will inspire high-quality candidates who want to be part of this exciting next chapter, building on the success of Oregon's future. The Commission is updating and refining the executive compensation framework to reflect current benchmarks in the organization's strategic priorities. As the organization transitions from a period of one long tenured leader to a newly recruited executive, the Commission has taken the opportunity to strengthen its governance role and implement a clear market benchmark compensation structure aligned with peer organizations. With that in mind, the team is proposing a starting salary range of $235,000 to $255,000, which meets contemporary best practices and supports the organization's long-term strategic goals. In addition, in follow-up to yesterday's conversation regarding salary compensation that I believe Commissioner Hill had, the Commission is only responsible for setting executive director compensation. Any discussion at this meeting would not affect other staff compensation. It's also worth noting that under ORS 652-220, an employer cannot reduce an employer's pay in an attempt to comply with the pay equity law. And I hope that answered that question. And thank you for hearing me out here. Are there any questions about the comments I just made? All right. Are there any additional comments or questions regarding compensation that we will settle on for this next phase of the job search? Sorry. Hiring search.
Hey, Greg,
Yes.
just for clarification, and I think that the message here was to try to align it with some of these other agencies within the state. And this kind of falls in line with this range kind of falls in line with those other agencies.
Roughly.
Okay. Yeah, perfect.
And I realized we had some discussion yesterday, but does anybody else have any other further discussion? All right, great. We're gonna, so I am gonna look for a motion to approve the executive director compensation hiring range at $235,000 to $255,000. So Hydra can move forward with this.
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
Second. Thank you, Commissioner Pearson and Commissioner Gremmels with the second. Given the virtual nature of this meeting, we'll take roll call vote. Please say aye or nay on approving and adopting the executive director compensation hiring range. Commissioner Gremmels.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Miller.
Aye.
Commissioner Pearson.
Aye.
Commissioner Rowe.
Aye.
Vice Chair Patel.
Aye.
And I, as chair, say aye as well. The motion to approve and adopt the executive director compensation hiring range at $235,000 to $255,000 is approved. Thank you. Hydric team with the hiring standards, policy directives, hiring plan, and now compensation hiring range all approved. We believe you have the needed information to publicly post the position and begin recruitment. And I thank you for working with us and presenting here today and yesterday. You have put a lot of energy into getting us to where we are at today, and it's very well appreciated.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll work forward to finalizing this information and getting it posted.
Thank you, Alyssa.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Molly.
Good job, Greg.
Oh, thanks. Well, thank you. And we look forward to the position being posted publicly next week. It's going to be a good day for this team and for the commission, for the state, and everybody vested in doing great things for our state. We have reached the end of the agenda today. We look forward to gathering qualified candidates and progressing through the stages of hiring. As discussed yesterday, additional written comments for the commission to consider are welcome between now and March 4th. Those public comments will be shared at the March 9th commission meeting. The Oregon Tourism Commission's next meeting is Monday, March 9th, starting at 12:30 p.m. at the Oregon Convention Center in Portland. Our meeting immediately precedes the Oregon Governor's Conference on Tourism, and we hope to see everyone there. With that, we are adjourned, and thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Great weekend.
Thank you.